Hi, my Scorpio and prominent Scorpio placements, YouTube friends and followers. I greatly appreciate you for being here. No cards today. This is a downloaded message that I've received specifically for Scorpio and that prominent placement that I discussed earlier. Your sun, obviously, but also your rising, your moon, your Mercury, what else? And the North Node in Scorpio. So I added Mercury in there because if you have Mercury in Scorpio, that means you think and you speak like a Scorpio, you communicate like a Scorpio. You might as well be thrown into that Scorpio category, if you know what I mean. I apologize for the delay in this video. I had an allergy flare-up, and then as time went on, I kept getting more tidbits of what we needed to talk about. So, first of all, this is not for the cross-watcher. So if you're a cross-watcher with no prominent placements in Scorpio, I suggest you click off. You will not understand, nor will you like this reading, and you will be labeled by your dislikes as a cross-watcher. Okay, so now that we've got the semantics out of the way, let's get to the messages. So the first thing is the Scorpios and prominent placements in Scorpios need to pay attention to your emotions, but specifically your anger. Now, those around you, if a Scorpio has an outburst, they may label it as a typical Scorpio temper tantrum. However, there is a high probability that it is not a Scorpio temper tantrum. It's actually your intuition. Let me give you an example. You have a teenager who acts in a way that's unusual, has a different behavior pattern, such as sleeping in the spare bedroom without notifying you. And so you wake up in the morning, you're looking for your teenager, they're not in their bed, they're in the spare bedroom. You find them in there and wake them up, and their excuse is, well, my back hurt and this mattress is different, and so I thought it would help my back. And you have an outburst. Now, the outburst in hindsight is because there was some bad stuff going on in that room, and the outburst is actually an indication that you need to research further, dig deep into the details of all of that. Does that make sense? Because the Scorpio is the only sign that will get to the bottom of it, and it needs to be resolved. There is something that needs to be resolved, and this is probably going to be in your personal life, although it could be globally, that you need to pay attention to your emotional outbursts, specifically anger. You're all, and I can pinpoint several times in my life when I've had these outbursts, and my family and friends were just thinking that it was just me being off the chain, but actually there was more to it than that. That's number one. Number two is, it is time for all the Scorpios to stand up and speak their truths. And I've said many times in the Scorpio videos, a Scorpio can smell bullshit miles away. They can also see laser-focused vision, zooming in on what the problem is, what people aren't saying, because a lot of times it's not what they say, it's what they don't say. And the Scorpio is asking questions, trying to sift through all of the BS to get through the truth. There is a lot of BS in this world. I want you to think back to March of 2020. Everything we were told back then. Everything. How many of those things that you were told are true now? Just giving you an example. But the bottom line is the rest of the 11 signs, they have their head shoved up their ass if they're not married to a Scorpio or they don't have a Scorpio close to them that's trying to tell them what the truth is. Now, I want you to think about all the whistleblowers that have come out in various things, not just one subject matter. How many of those people were Scorpios? I would bet a significant amount. This is why we were strategically placed in this place and space and time, and wherever you're placed right now, whatever geographical location you're at, whatever job you're in, whatever country you're in, you are being called to step up to the plate and call the BS out when you need to. How are you going to know when you need to? It's simple. Listen to the Scorpio gut. It will tell you when to say something and when to back down. Some of you may even be called to be whistleblowers yourselves in your workplace. Could you have serious consequences as a result of that? Absolutely. There's no question. So what should you do in that event? Have a plan. Have an exit strategy, have a backup, and then have a backup of a backup plan. And consult a trusted reader on the advice on that. You don't have to call me, but call someone that's accurate, for goodness sakes. What else? The whistleblower. You may need to call, and this is not just in your personal or work life. You may need to call it out, the BS, on social media. I do this all the time, where I see an article and it's written by a 23-year-old who has absolutely no life experience, and they're just going along with the rhetoric that's been told to them. Here the Scorpio raises her hand and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, sir, group of people, globe, world, whatever. Excuse me, this is bullshit. And let me tell you why it's bullshit." And then the Scorpio has a list of reasons. You open a paper, right? It's like a scroll. It just falls on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The world needs the Scorpios right now to call it out. Because everyone else has their head shoved up their ass. They have no idea what's going on. And this is particularly true when the general population just keeps going and going in this life and world, which is a different world than it was 2 years ago, and a very different world than it was 10 or 12 years ago, or 15 years ago, or even 20 years ago. We cannot continue to do the same things that we did back then. Different world now. Different world. I have a friend who moved out of the country, a country in Europe. She didn't ask my advice. In the process of moving or getting moved, one of my other friends said to me, "Oh, girls' trip." And I said, "Hold on. Let's look at the cards before we jump on an airplane." Today, I turn on my computer, the first news article that pops up, this particular country is getting ready to hunker down and go to war with Russia. It's talked about bomb shelters, supplies, and anti-radiation medication. And this lady moved to that country. And I snapshotted it. I don't have my phone in front of me. I snapshotted the article and sent it to my friend. I said, "Hey, this is why we check cards before we jump on an airplane, not just to move places, but to travel places too. You need to check and double check and triple check that your plans are okay and that you are going to be safe." And look, we have a lot of eclipses that are coming in Scorpio. We're at the beginning. We're at a 2-year cycle because the nodes have shifted. What does that mean? Make sure you have accident insurance, the kind that covers every kind of accident that you can think of. Make sure your life insurance is top, up to par. that you're covered, that the payment, your premium is paid. Make sure that you're doing the protection every day. These eclipses will affect everyone, but particularly Scorpios who do not have their shit together. And when someone asks you, the majority of the population, they don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear it. And look, I'm not happy about it either. But we have to prioritize our safety over pleasure. Sorry that you can't go on that vacation to Italy right now, honey. It's going to have to be postponed. And listen to the Scorpio gut. It will tell you. And if you're not sure, if maybe you think you got a message, but you think, see, this, you're playing this like second guessing game, which some Scorpios do, not all of us. Get a reading. Make sure it's a trusted reader. Make sure that person is accurate so that you know what's going on. Me personally, I wouldn't leave the country right now. I'm even skeptical about traveling domestically after what's just gone on in Brooklyn. Just saying, I don't like it either. I'd like to travel too. But I'm certainly not going to put myself in any harm's way, or my family for that matter, just because I want to do something, and just because I've always done this, and just because I did it 5 years ago, and I did it 10 years ago. That makes no difference. New world now. New world, new changes. We have to adapt if we want to continue to be here and thrive. And we've been through a lot. And hopefully we've learned a lot of lessons. I know I have. So anyway, I think I've covered it all. If I haven't, I'll do another video, or if anything comes up for Scorpios or any sign for that matter. I'm just here to do what I've been called to do in this life. Many blessings to all the Scorpio and other Scorpio prominent placements. Take care.